Yo, what's up everybody? Short and sweet little video today, 5 Ableton workflow tips that are gonna help you level up. Let's do it. So to kick it off in Ableton, guys, a really fun thing you can do once a month is find an effect that you're interested in, but you don't necessarily know very well, and then just save that as your default audio and MIDI track. So last month I did Ableton's Spectral Resonator, and pretty much you just add it onto a channel, audio channel here, and then right click, go down to Save Default Audio Track. So now every time I press Control T, we're doing all the shortcuts today as well. And you see all these audio channels, right? It's just all of them have the Spectral Resonator. So pretty much every time I go to add a new channel, I'm gonna at least be tempted to use the Spectral Resonator, and it's kind of at the forefront of my consciousness. And by the end of the month, you're gonna use the Spectral Resonator a lot, right? Because it's popping up in front of your face all the time. And honestly, this is kind of like, getting a new girlfriend once a month, Why not try it out? So last month I did Spectral Resonator. Now I have a bunch of really cool sounds. I sort of know what every knob does. I've got this spectral bass line here, nice and smooth, and I know that this harmonics knob is a good way to kind of build a little bit of energy over the course of a track, so I'll boost it a little bit, boost it even more, maybe for the main drop. The next tip, guys, is very, very important. Honestly, I probably should have put this one first, and it relates to Ableton's clip library. So you have, of course, in Ableton, like any DAW, your sample library, and then in the user library, you have all of your best clips. And in my opinion, this is just as important, if not more important, than having an organized sample library, because you can have all of your best stems in here. You can even have entire songs in here, and then drag them into projects while you're working, and kind of just take the best pieces, right? So I have it organized by year, right? And then for 2025, it looks similar to a sample library, but any leads I've made throughout the year, right here, I give them all, memorable names. So if I want to get this flume plucky grain saw lead into a project, I just drag it in, right? And vice versa, if I was in a project and just made this, let's see how this sounds. Not that great. There might be too many layers going on, but anyways, usually it's pretty fire, but I made the saw lead, right? And now I can just drag it into the leads folder for the year and have easy access, right? And a lot of times I grab some of my best songs and just drag them into projects I'm working on. So I was recently working on a track called 4D Hypercube. And now I can just drag this into my project, drag the entire song, and just maybe grab the drums, the lead, the sub, whatever I'm feeling for the day, right? And pretty much this is a really good way to work, because a lot of times when you're working on the fly, you're remembering, oh, I was working the other day, I made this really nice kind of spacey lead, and you don't want to just leave the project, right? So why not have it organized where you can just drag in your best stuff, right? I've got these wormhole leads here. Maybe I want to grab the drums, maybe just the kick and snare. Another thing you can do is, if you're ever stuck and you're not sure, what you want to do for the night or whatever, just go through old tracks and just drag all of the best pieces from old tracks into your clip library so that you can access them later. Another thing to try out, let's say, you're having one of those sessions where you're just going through and saving down all your best clips or samples as well. Sample libraries are obviously important too. Just start thinking about vibes, right? So I've got this vibes folder, aggressive, angelic and peaceful, contemplative, mellow, uplifting, water worlds, right? So it can be different vibes or soundscapes, and it's just another way to kind of think about and organize your sounds. So, let's say I'm kind of making a water world type soundscape, and I want to go and drag in some of these clips. Now I've got all this stuff here, right? Water organs pad. It's just a name that I gave it. It's not necessarily like, strictly a water organs pad, whatever that means. But it kind of reminds me of that type of soundscape. And so, maybe I would also drag this one into the mellow folder. And, this is a really good way to work, because instead of just kind of thinking so stiff, these are my basses at 132 in the key of G, and I'm going to make sure I'm always in key and it's, going to be perfect. Like, thinking in terms of vibes is sometimes something that can separate you from other producers, because your interpretation of a vibe is different from everyone else's interpretation. One other type of folder that I highly recommend you make, if you haven't already, is just a random folder. Random! So for your user library and also for your sample library, this is mine for this year. It's just random stuff I recorded, random samples that I didn't know where to put. it's nice if you're not sure, where to put something, just put it in the random folder, and then drag it back in later to just add some randomness to your project. And it usually just works out, right? So I'm just going to close my eyes, grab one of these, drag it in. Let's see if Duran Songbird Titmouse pairs well with water organs. Perfect. We're already striking the vibe, right? So just adding a little bit of randomness when you're stuck is a nice thing to do. And again, when you're going through and organizing sounds, you don't know where to put something, just throw it in the random folder. Also, you guys might have noticed this little notepad device on the water organs channel. This is huge. If you don't have this, get it. I'll link you guys below. It's a free Max for Live device, but it allows you to leave notes on any channel. I'm always writing important stuff on here. Let's say I was in the mix down phase and, I wanted to maybe let the track sit for a week or two. I might say, boost the highs a bit. Don't let the other melodies distract from these pads or something, right? So then when you go back to do the mix down, you end up letting your track sit probably not a week or two, probably end up letting it sit, 6-9 months, right? That's what we do. You're going to thank yourself when you go back and you have these little nuggets, these little notes here. That pretty much wraps it up for today, guys. If you liked the video, drop me a like, drop me a subscribe, and let me know if you want me to do some more Ableton-specific videos. We could do shortcuts. We could nerd out on, some other workflow stuff. Whatever you guys want, I'm here for you. I got you. Peace.